All right, so I was going to script this, decided not to. My first YouTube video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Yeah, what's up? Hi. What am I talking about today? I guess what everybody's talking about. Protests, racism, police brutality. Except I am not going to talk about any of those things. I'm going to talk about systematic abuse. So, we've had an issue as humanity, like on a whole, regardless of what country you're from. I'm Colombian, and I live in San Antonio. So everywhere's had issues with their governments, with their police force, and the handling of those things. In some countries, the cops are just like ridiculously corrupt. Say Peru, you run a red light, or you get caught drunk driving, and say you get caught drunk driving. I did once, okay? So they took me about a block from the precinct and then pulled over, like literally with the precinct in view, and gets out of the car, both of them, and they come up to me and my buddy. I mean, drunk driving, they told me to follow them in my car, keep driving, all the way to the precinct, right? Block away, they stop, get out of the car, and then ask us how much money we have on us. And they proceed to take all of our money and let us go. So that's Peru. But now let's talk about here in the US. And the issue here with systematic abuse is not just in the police force. It is also in the government. The form and shape that these abuses take place vary, but they're all systematic abuse. Be they motivated partially by racism or partially by whatever bias a person has against whatever group of people or individual that they're dealing with unfairly or abusing. So what I feel is that in order to get anything done, we need to be talking about systematic abuse. We need to understand why it's been allowed to happen. In terms of the police force, at this point, I'm just talking about police force. I'm not going to get into the government. But we need to start looking, and we need to start using the political rights that we have as citizens. Well, I'm not a citizen, so y'all watching who are citizens need to use your political rights to demand from your governors, from your mayors, from your city police chiefs to invest and maybe even change the laws that would qualify someone to be a police officer. We can't keep having people who are looking for an excuse to be able to abuse others, regardless of race, like the last person I heard who told me they got beaten up by cops, he was white. Regardless of his race, though, I mean, they beat him up just the same. They every single time that they're dealing with a criminal, whatever suspect or anything, if they got to detain someone and that person talks back, they're going to get hit. In my personal opinion, I draw the line there. I don't draw the line at killing someone. I draw the line at hitting somebody who is not resisting and who is tied up, right? So in terms of abuse, we need to understand that a lot of the abuse that's been going on to create police brutality isn't even race-driven. It's part of the police force and how they treat people. And I'm not saying all police forces are like this. I'm not saying all sheriff's departments are like this. For example, here in San Antonio, I heard about something called EPIC. It's called Ethical Policing is Courageous. And that is how the San Antonio Sheriff's Department is training their cops. Basically, what they're basically training their sheriffs to do is if they see a sheriff breaking the law, they're training them to call him out on it, to just either tell him in person or to report them, which is what we need to be doing. We need to be mandating this for all police forces everywhere, because we need to be able to know that the police are on our side. If they're here to protect and serve, then we need to feel safe when they're around. And all of these protests, all they're showing is that we don't feel safe around police, and they don't feel safe around us. So we need to have this conversation. We need to make changes to the rules in which a person can interact with the public as a police officer. And we need to change that so that everyone involved, them and us, can feel safe and secure. Because that's what this country's about. It's not about somebody being able to terrorize you. No. This country is about feeling good and feeling safe. And that's the conversation we need to be having. Thank you.